On the 30th of April, 1945, the world was told that Adolf Hitler had died. The Nazi dictator allegedly took his own life in a bunker beneath Berlin as Soviet forces closed in. His body was burned beyond recognition. The war in Europe ended days later. But what if this story was not entirely true? Within weeks of the official announcement, rumors began to spread. Intelligence agencies received reports of Hitler sightings across Europe. Witnesses claimed to have seen him boarding submarines. Informants spoke of secret escape routes to South America. The Federal Bureau of Investigation opened a file that would grow to over 700 pages. They investigated leads for decades after the war ended. The Soviet Union, which captured the bunker, changed its story multiple times. First, they confirmed Hitler's death. Then Stalin himself suggested Hitler had escaped. Forensic evidence was kept secret for nearly 50 years. When finally released, it raised more questions than it answered. Even today, the skull fragment held in Moscow and claimed to be Hitler's has been proven to belong to a woman. So what really happened in those final days? Did Hitler die in the bunker as history teaches, or did he escape to begin a new life in hiding? The evidence is contradictory. Official reports conflict with eyewitness testimonies. Declassified documents reveal investigations that continued long after the war ended. In this video, we will examine the official narrative of Hitler's death. We will explore the historical context of his final days in Berlin. We will investigate the escape theories supported by Federal Bureau of Investigation documents. We will analyze testimonies from those who claim to have seen him in Argentina, and we will evaluate the credibility of competing theories. By the end, you will have the information to decide for yourself what truly happened to Adolf Hitler. To understand this mystery, we must first understand the situation in April of 1945. By this time, Nazi Germany was collapsing. The Third Reich, which Hitler claimed would last 1,000 years, was ending after just 12. Allied forces advanced from the west. Soviet forces pushed from the east. Berlin, the capital of the Reich, was surrounded. Hitler had retreated to the Führer bunker in January of 1945. This underground complex sat beneath the Reich Chancellery in central Berlin. It consisted of 18 rooms on 2 levels. The bunker was protected by concrete walls over 4 meters thick. Here, Hitler commanded what remained of his forces. He refused to leave the city. He rejected suggestions to flee south to Bavaria or Austria. The Soviet assault on Berlin began on the 16th of April. Over 2 million troops attacked the city. The German defense consisted mainly of elderly men and young boys. Professional soldiers were already dead or captured. The situation was hopeless. Everyone in the bunker knew this. Yet Hitler continued to issue orders to armies that no longer existed. By late April, Soviet forces were within blocks of the Chancellery. Artillery shells struck the building above the bunker daily. The sound of fighting echoed through the streets. Smoke filled the air. Bodies lined the roads. The end was inevitable. Those in the bunker began planning their escapes. On the 29th of April, Hitler married his longtime companion, Eva Braun. They had been together for over 12 years. She had joined him in the bunker weeks earlier. The wedding was brief and somber. There was no celebration. The next day, they would both be dead, according to official accounts. Also in the bunker were Joseph Goebbels, the propaganda minister, and his wife and 6 children. Martin Bormann, Hitler's private secretary, remained as well. Several military officers, personal staff, and guards completed the small group. These individuals would become the primary witnesses to what happened next. It is important to note that chaos reigned in Berlin during these final days. Communications were disrupted. Record-keeping had broken down. People fled the city by any means possible. In this environment, it would have been possible to move secretly. Escape routes could have been prepared. False identities could have been created. The fog of war provided cover for those who wished to disappear. Additionally, Nazi leadership had prepared contingency plans for defeat. They established escape networks, known as rat lines. These secret routes moved people out of Europe to South America, the Middle East, and elsewhere. Many high-ranking Nazis successfully used these routes after the war. Adolf Eichmann was captured in Argentina in 1960. Joseph Mengele died in Brazil in 1979. Klaus Barbie lived in Bolivia until 1983. If these men could escape, could Hitler? The question becomes not whether escape was possible, but whether it actually occurred. To answer this, we must examine what witnesses say happened on that April 30th afternoon. We must evaluate the physical evidence that was found, and we must consider who had reasons to lie about what they knew. The official account states that Hitler shot himself on the 30th of April, 1945, at approximately 3:30 in the afternoon. Eva Braun allegedly took cyanide poison at the same time. Their bodies were carried outside to the Chancellery Garden. There, they were placed in a shallow crater created by a shell blast. Gasoline was poured over the bodies. They were set on fire. The remains burned for several hours. This narrative comes primarily from testimony given by those present in the bunker. Martin Bormann claimed to have seen the bodies. So did Heinz Linge, Hitler's valet. Otto Guenche, an adjutant, stated he helped carry Hitler's body outside. These men were later captured and interrogated separately. Their accounts matched in most details. This consistency convinced many investigators that the story was true. However, problems with this account emerged immediately. No photographs were taken of the bodies before burning. No independent witnesses observed the deaths. The bodies were burned so thoroughly that identification would be difficult. By the time Soviet forces captured the bunker on the 2nd of May, the remains had already been buried and partially destroyed. The Soviets conducted their investigation in secret. They excavated the garden area. They found charred remains they believed belonged to Hitler and Eva Braun. These remains were taken to Moscow. An autopsy was performed. The Soviet doctors concluded the bodies were indeed Hitler and Braun. They based this on dental records. Hitler's dentist and dental technician were located. They confirmed the dental work matched Hitler's mouth. But Stalin publicly cast doubt on this conclusion. In June of 1945, he told Western leaders that Hitler might have escaped. He suggested the dictator could be hiding in Spain or Argentina. Why would Stalin say this if Soviet doctors had confirmed the death? Some historians believe Stalin wanted to embarrass the Western allies. Others think he genuinely doubted his own experts. The Soviet autopsy report remained classified until 1992. When finally released, it revealed disturbing information. The body identified as Hitler was missing its skull. The remains were badly damaged. Only fragments of jawbone allowed dental identification. The report noted that no bullet wound could be definitively confirmed. This contradicted witness statements that Hitler shot himself. Furthermore, skull fragments recovered from the bunker site and held in Moscow were tested in 2009. DNA analysis revealed they belonged to a woman under 40 years old. This could not be Hitler, who was 56 and male. If these fragments were not Hitler's, what happened to his actual skull? Did it ever exist? The Federal Bureau of Investigation began receiving reports of Hitler sightings within weeks of the announcement of his death. Informants claimed he had escaped by submarine. Some reports placed him in Spain. Others said he went to Argentina. The Bureau investigated these claims seriously. Documents show they tracked leads across multiple continents. One particularly detailed report came in 1945 from an informant in Argentina. This person claimed Hitler had arrived by submarine at the southern coast. The informant provided specific dates and locations. They described a German community that was hiding the former dictator. The Federal Bureau of Investigation found the report credible enough to investigate further. Additional reports continued through the 1950s and 60s. Witnesses in Argentina claimed to have seen Hitler living under an assumed name. Some described a man matching his appearance at a remote ranch in Patagonia. Others spoke of a German expatriate community that protected former Nazis. None of these sightings were ever conclusively proven or disproven. The Central Intelligence Agency also collected intelligence on Hitler's possible survival. Declassified documents show they took the possibility seriously. Agents investigated reports from South America. They interviewed witnesses who claimed contact with Hitler. Like the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they could neither confirm nor deny the escape theory definitively. Physical evidence beyond the disputed remains is scarce. The bunker was demolished by the Soviets. The site was paved over. The chancellery was destroyed. No photographs of Hitler's body exist. No weapons were recovered and identified as the suicide gun. No farewell note was found. This lack of evidence frustrates investigators even today. What we have is witness testimony from people who had reasons to lie. We have Soviet forensic evidence that was kept secret for decades and contains significant problems. We have Western intelligence agencies that investigated escape theories for years. And we have the absence of definitive proof either way. This is why the mystery endures. This theory holds that Hitler committed suicide on April 30th, 1945, exactly as described by witnesses. He shot himself while Eva Braun took poison. Their bodies were burned. The remains were found by Soviet forces. Dental records confirmed identification. Supporting evidence includes consistent testimony from multiple bunker survivors. These witnesses had no apparent contact with each other before giving statements. Yet their accounts matched in key details. Martin Bormann, Heinz Linge, and Otto Guensche all described the same sequence of events. They described the same location. They described the same method of death. The Soviet autopsy, despite its problems, did identify remains through dental records. Hitler's dentist confirmed the dental work matched his records. This is considered reliable identification even when bodies are badly damaged. The dental technician independently verified this conclusion. This provides scientific support for the official story. Additionally, no credible evidence of Hitler alive after April 1945 has ever been produced. No verified photographs exist. No confirmed audio recordings surfaced. No documents bearing his signature appeared. For a man who was the most recognizable figure in the world, complete disappearance would be nearly impossible. However, contradicting evidence weakens this theory significantly. The skull fragments held in Moscow belong to a woman, not Hitler. This means the Soviets either made an identification error or intentionally misrepresented their findings. Either possibility undermines confidence in the forensic evidence. The bodies were never seen by independent witnesses before burning. Only Nazi loyalists viewed them. These same people had strong motivation to lie. If Hitler escaped, they would create exactly this story to cover his departure. Their testimony alone cannot be considered definitive proof. The lack of photographs is suspicious. The Nazis documented everything extensively. Why would they not photograph such a historically significant event? The absence of such evidence suggests something was being hidden. Perhaps the story was fabricated entirely. Credibility level: medium to high. The dental evidence is strong. Witness consistency is notable. But forensic problems and lack of independent verification create reasonable doubt. This theory proposes that Hitler staged his death and escaped Germany by submarine. He traveled to Argentina with Eva Braun. They lived in the Patagonia region under assumed identities. They were protected by a German expatriate community and potentially by Argentine authorities. Supporting evidence includes Federal Bureau of Investigation documents that detail escape reports. Informants described Hitler's arrival by submarine in July or August of 1945. They provided specific locations along the Argentine coast. The Bureau considered these reports credible enough to investigate extensively. German submarines were indeed active after the war officially ended. U-boat 530 surrendered in Argentina on the 10th of July, 1945. U-boat 977 surrendered there on the 17th of August. These submarines could have transported passengers. Their late surrender dates suggest possible special missions. Witnesses in Argentina claim to have seen Hitler in the Bariloche area. This region had a large German community. Many former Nazis fled there after the war. The community was insular and protective. They could have hidden Hitler successfully. Local police may have been bribed or sympathetic. A ranch near San Carlos de Bariloche called Inalco has been identified as a possible hiding place. The property was owned by Germans. It had secure buildings suitable for someone in hiding. Investigators found German artifacts from the 1940s. Some researchers believe Hitler lived here until his natural death decades later. Contradicting evidence includes the complete lack of definitive proof. No photographs of Hitler in Argentina have been authenticated. No documents prove his presence there. The eyewitness testimonies cannot be independently verified. Many came from sources of questionable reliability. The logistics of escape would have been extraordinarily difficult. Hitler was the most wanted man in the world. Every border was watched. Every port was monitored. Moving him secretly would require an extensive conspiracy. Hundreds of people would need to maintain silence forever. This seems unlikely. Additionally, if Hitler had escaped, why did he never resurface? Why did he not attempt to influence post-war Nazi movements? Why did he not communicate with remaining loyalists? A man of Hitler's personality would struggle to remain silent and hidden. Complete disappearance contradicts his psychological profile. The Argentine government investigated these claims in later years. They found no evidence Hitler ever entered the country. Immigration records show no suspicious entries. Property records do not link him to any holdings. Official investigations concluded the rumors were unfounded. Credibility level: low to medium. The Federal Bureau of Investigation interest is intriguing. Submarine movements are documented. But lack of proof and logistical improbability weaken the theory significantly. This intermediate theory suggests Hitler did die in Berlin, but not exactly as officially reported. Perhaps he died earlier or by different means. Perhaps different people were involved. The cover-up was designed to protect certain individuals or hide embarrassing details. Supporting evidence includes the contradictions in Soviet reports. Stalin's public doubts suggest he knew something that contradicted official statements. The missing skull and female bone fragments indicate the Soviets found something they could not explain. Rather than admit uncertainty, they may have constructed a narrative. Some researchers propose Hitler died of illness or poison rather than shooting himself. This would explain the absence of confirmed bullet wounds in the autopsy. It would also make the witness testimony partially false while maintaining that he died in the bunker. Another possibility is that Hitler attempted escape but died during the attempt. Perhaps he was killed leaving Berlin. Perhaps the submarine journey failed. His supporters then created the bunker suicide story to give him a more dramatic end. This would explain both the witness accounts and the missing evidence. Contradicting evidence includes the lack of any concrete alternative narrative. This theory explains inconsistencies, but offers no definitive alternative explanation. It essentially admits, we do not know what happened. Without positive evidence, it remains speculation. Credibility level: medium. This theory acknowledges the evidence problems while avoiding the improbability of successful escape. It may be closest to the truth, but it provides no satisfying answers. After examining all available evidence, what can we conclude about Hitler's fate? The honest answer is that certainty remains elusive. Each theory has supporting evidence. Each also has significant weaknesses. The official account of suicide in the bunker remains most widely accepted by historians. The dental identification provides scientific support. Witness testimony is consistent. The logistical difficulty of escape supports this conclusion. However, the Soviet handling of evidence undermines confidence. The missing skull and female bone fragments cannot be explained away. These are not minor inconsistencies. The escape theory captures imagination because it acknowledges these problems. Federal Bureau of Investigation and Central Intelligence Agency investigations prove that serious people took the possibility seriously. Submarine movements are documented facts. German communities in Argentina did shelter war criminals. The theory is not pure fantasy, yet the complete absence of definitive proof weakens it considerably. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. That evidence does not exist. Perhaps we are asking the wrong question. Instead of did he die or escape, we should ask why we cannot answer this question definitively. What does it say about the chaos of war's end that such a crucial fact remains disputed? What does it reveal about Cold War politics that the Soviets mishandled or manipulated evidence? What does it tell us about human nature that we prefer dramatic escape stories to mundane suicide? Recent investigations using modern forensic techniques have attempted to resolve the question. DNA testing of the skull fragments proved they were not Hitler's, but no additional remains have been tested. The dental fragments remain in Russian archives. Until these are examined with modern methods, questions will persist. The most likely scenario remains that Hitler died in Berlin on or near the 30th of April, 1945, but the exact circumstances and the handling of his remains involve deception or error. Complete certainty may never be possible. Too much time has passed. Too much evidence was destroyed or hidden. Too many witnesses are now dead. So we have explored the mystery of Adolf Hitler's final days. We have examined the official narrative of his death in the Berlin bunker. We have investigated the escape theories supported by declassified government documents. We have analyzed the contradictions in Soviet forensic evidence. And we have evaluated multiple theories with their supporting and contradicting evidence. Which theory do you find most convincing? Do you believe Hitler died in the bunker as reported? Or do you think the evidence suggests escape or cover-up? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this historical investigation, please like this video and share it with others interested in World War II mysteries. Subscribe to this channel to see more deep dives into unexplained historical events. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.